Welcome to the Lancaster City Council meeting. This is our inaugural afternoon meeting. Let's see how it goes. Okay. City Clerk.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Hughes Leslie.
Present.
Molly.
Present.
Mann.
Here.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Chris.
Present.
Mayor, Chairman Paris.
Here. Thank you.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The invocation is with John, is it, how do I pronounce that?
Michael.
Michael. I should have been able to do that, huh? From Grace Chapel.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here to just seek the Lord on our behalf. Let us pray. Father, we come before you. We want to acknowledge that you are above all and we serve you. And so I pray, Lord, over the city council meeting as the decisions, the recognitions that will happen. Lord, that you've gone before us and you put us here and you've ordained all of this. And so I pray that people would remember that you put them here for a reason, Lord, to serve the city that is here. And it is with all of that, Lord, that we humbly just ask for your blessing in your name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sonia Patterson.
Good evening. If I could please have the Juneteenth Planning Committee members join me at the podium. I almost said good evening, but good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. The Parks Department has had the honor to work with the Community-Led Planning Committee to facilitate the third annual Juneteenth event. With us today, we have a few of the community members who have been serving on the various planning committees, and they will be providing an overview of the Juneteenth event for you today. So at this time, I'll turn the presentation over to the committee members.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us, Mayor Paris, Vice Mayor Marvin Christ, the other council members, and all other honored guests. We thank you so much for having us here today. My name is Danielle Harper. I am the chair of advertising and marketing. This is my second year in running and being a part of the Juneteenth planning committee, and I feel honored to be a part of it. It's a lot of hard work put into it, and we're just happy that we have something that can showcase us as a community and the good parts of us as a community. So we thank you so much for your help in making this go for the third year in a row, and we just really thank you. Just giving a little brief history of Juneteenth. In 1863 in January is when people were waiting at their seats to find out if they were emancipated or not. They were told. 2 years later, the rest of the world that were under the Confederate States were released with the emancipation on June 19th, 1965. And so we just are happy to be part of a great country that is very important to us. We're just happy that we're no longer enslaved and that we're happy for this organization of a beautiful celebration to make sure that we are coming together as a community to make sure that we do positive things and help each other out. So anyways, thank you so much. Next up, we have Ms. Fawn. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Fawn White, president of the NAACP. And once again, I'd like to thank Mayor Paris, City Council, for your support. This is our third year of the NAACP assisting with planning the Juneteenth celebration. I'm going to talk about the arts and history component of the Juneteenth celebration. It consists of prominent African Americans in our history. We'll also have a HBCU area that will focus on the historical Black colleges and Black Wall Street, because as we all know, we just celebrated the unfortunate incident of Black Wall Street. So it's going to be an interesting time for our community to come out and celebrate. We'll have some visual aids, so a lot of interesting information for everyone to come out. And then also I would like everybody to stop by our booth because we will be celebrating our fathers. As you know, it is Father's Day. So we'll have some goodies for the fathers. Stop by our booth and, patronize our booth. So once again, I'd like to thank the city council for the city for supporting us for our third year. And I will pass it on to Mr. Patterson, to Neil.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tennille Gossam, and I had the pleasure of being chairman of the Activities and Games Committee. And this Sunday, we do have some fun things planned for the kids or for the whole community. We've got a car show, a skating rink. We have a ladies flag football game that you guys can come out and watch. We have Gather Blaster coming out. They have a foam party. He's bringing life-size table games. We have a game truck going on. Lots of different things going on for the community, and they are all free of charge for the community. And just like to say that we did end up finding local vendors for these events and stuff, for the activities. So hope to see you guys all out Sunday. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Patterson. I am a member of the Lancaster Palmdale Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi. One of the things that I like to piggyback on, that I like to tell people when I've been doing a little bit of advertising and marketing in the community for this event, I remind mom and dad that the event is free. No charge for the kids. Roller skating rink, foam party, video game trunk, all that stuff is free for the kids, so please bring them out. I am the chairman of the Stage and Entertainment Committee. I'm also chairman of the Vendor Committee. So if you show up, you're out there, you guys are going to enjoy 20 amateur acts that'll be on stage. You'll also enjoy one professional act, award winner by the name of Miss Chalet. She was extremely popular in the 90s, early 2000s, award winner. We're also going to have approximately 100 vendors out there between food and merchandise vendors. So please bring your coolers, your lawn chairs, and some money so that you can enjoy what we all have to offer out there that day.
I thought it was free.
The food and the drinks are not. The merchandise is not, but all the entertainment absolutely is. All the stage entertainment and everything that we have there for the kids. And if you want to roller skate as an adult, you can do that too. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christine Smith. I am the Vice President of the NAACP. On behalf of the Lancaster Juneteenth Committee Partnership, I invite you to attend the 3rd Annual Lancaster Juneteenth celebration, the community's family reunion on Sunday, June 16th, 2024 at Sergeant Steve Owens Park from 11 to 7 p.m. So we ask you that you please break out your matching family t-shirts, grab your blankets and your lawn chairs and come together with us in the spirit of family, community, and most importantly, freedom. I believe that Sonia has placed these on in front of you. So please come out and join us. We would love to see you there. And thank you so much for 3 years of support. And we can't wait to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I went to the event last year. It was one of my most favorite events, and I should probably bite my tongue, but I'm not going to. There's a reluctance of white people to go to what's considered a black event. I don't know what the reason for it is, but that was the greatest family event we have had all year. And I would encourage everybody that you're going to like this if you go. It was very family oriented. It was fun. It was, I don't know, I loved it. And I encourage everyone to go to it. Thank you for putting it on. It has certainly enhanced our community. Thank you. Okay. Antelope Valley Search and Rescue, Rod.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. It's good to see you today. Have the extreme honor of honoring some of our, these men are incredible, some of our reserve deputies. And when you think of the amount of time and service that they've given to pretty much this entire county, it's amazing. Let me just start by telling you that together, their years of service are over 130 years of service to this county. That's amazing. I've worked around volunteers for quite a long time, and I haven't seen individuals that have worked as long as they have. But when you consider the work that they've done, search and rescue, these men go in and get people at the worst times possible. So if there's been an earthquake, if there's been a fire, if there's been a horrific crash, a riot, I guarantee you they've been a part of it. It amazes me that all the events I've been a part of, while I was there doing what I could, these guys were there doing the most important part, saving lives. So I want to bring them up, and then I'll tell you a bit more about it. So about them. So the first is John Johnston. Come on up, John. 31 incredible years of service. Wow. Please keep in mind, they get paid quite a bit of money, a whole $1 a year. So when we're talking volunteering and service, it's just amazing. Jeff Godey, 40 years of service. Kevin Wasner, 33 years of service. And Alan Kasawabadi, say that one right? Affectionately known as K-12 because of the K and 12 letters in the last name. That's a nickname they gave the guy. Kevin's not with us today. He's actually out in service with the Air Force. So, and he has 27 years of service, and receiving the award in his name today is his daughter, Grace. Thank you for coming today, Grace. So just to give you a bit more about these guys, they are on call 24/7, 365 days a year, and they answer the call every single time. They work in the most extreme heats and colds you can imagine. Their area that they cover goes from Wrightwood to Lake LA, Kern County North, San Bernardino East, Green Valley Vasquez Rocks West, and Dawson Saddle South. So we're talking a tremendously large area. And as I said before, plane crash, extreme temperatures, you name it, finding lost hikers, they have done it all, and they have done it all so extremely well that today they are receiving the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And please keep in mind, we're talking, to receive this award, you have to have 30,000 hours of service donated as a volunteer. So that's a lot of work, gentlemen. Thank you very much. So you know what? At this time, I wanted to give John just a second to tell you a little bit more about them, and then we'll start handing out the awards.
First of all, I'd like to thank the city, the department for this honor. I know it goes all the way up to the president, but we really do appreciate being recognized here. I especially want to thank our families for what they put up with, because we couldn't do this without them. And I want to be especially thankful for the guys I'm being honored with tonight. It's been a true honor, not only to wear this uniform, but to be associated with them. So I want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 30,000 hours, that's a lifetime. Wow.
Mr. Mayor, if you'd like to come down, we'll start handing them the awards out.
Good job. And if anybody would like to join, you're more than welcome. So should we line it up?
Mayor and council members kind of stand this way, and then we'll have the mayor hand you the certificate, and then we'll shake hands as we go down the line.
Rod, can we do the pictures up here?
So you waited till I.
You said you needed the exercise.
Johnny, you guys come up here.
No, let's do it down.
I think we should take Marvin's microphone away.
Let's push this around.
Is there more?
rotate that. They got awards from Julio's Lackeys. And now the audience Everyone should note that they also received awards from both Assembly people, Lackey and Creel's office, and the supervisor's office. So,
Good, thank you. And last but not least, Host Homes Transitional Housing, Sarah Perry and Angela Ray. Did I say it? Is it the-
Actually, Sarah Perry and Sarah Haven.
from Valley Oasis?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon, council. Thank you for giving us the space to talk to you today. My name is Sarah Perry. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Valley Oasis. Valley Oasis is a community-based organization that provides services to the local community for the last 42 years. We specialize in domestic violence services, sexual assault services, and services to people experiencing homelessness. Today, I'm joined by Sarah Haven. She's a coordinator for our Host Homes program. Host Homes is a program that services transitional aged youth who are experiencing homelessness. Transitional aged youth are defined as individuals between the ages of 18 and 25 who are seeking services for homelessness or because they're at risk for homelessness. An organization that specializes in TASE services, Safe Place for Youth, put together a presentation in regards to why transition-aged youth fall into homelessness. And they found that mostly it has to do with violence in the home, or they've aged out of systems like foster care systems. So we're here today to talk to you about a program that Valley Oasis put together or worked on started about 4 years ago out here that was innovative and really tailored to the needs of transition-aged youth. So I'm going to step aside. I'm going to let Sarah give you a rundown of the program and also share some outcomes and how we are hoping that the city may be able to help us with the program.
Good afternoon, Mayor Paris and other honorable council members. Thank you for having us. It's a joy and a privilege to be here. I want to do a little bit of a breakdown in regards to homelessness, transitional age homelessness in LA County. Every year, what happens in January is the homeless youth count. This is a little different in the fact that it's not a head count or an estimate. It is where volunteers and organization members are going into the street, doing surveys with people on the streets to see what the homeless status looks like for these young adults. And so what 2023, we don't have the 2024 numbers yet shown, was that 3,718 young adults are experiencing homelessness in LA County on any given night. The breakdown from that, though, is within SPA 1, which is in the Antelope Valley, that registered as 232 youth. So 232 youth on any given night are experiencing homelessness in the Antelope Valley. We don't have the breakdown, unfortunately, of cities, but that is what we're seeing right now. And one of the things to recognize, too, is this is just an estimate. This number could be more because some youth don't want to engage with this survey. Some youth could be experiencing homelessness or housing crisis in different senses. So we just want to offer a little bit of an idea of what the problem is that we're facing in Antelope Valley. So about 16% of homeless youth in LA County are from the Antelope Valley. Can I get the next slide? About 2 slides in. There's the breakdown. Can I get the next slide, please? Thank you. All right, so that same study that was happening for Safe Place for Youth, what they showed is that in regards to solutions for youth homelessness, these three surface as the most effective. First is family and kinship strengthening, so working to strengthen those connections or those family bonds. The second is short-term host homes, and the third is time-limited subsidy assistance. All of these are actually present in Lancaster at the moment, but today we wanted to highlight the short-term host homes. Next slide. So what is Host Homes? Host Homes is a short-term transitional housing program that is rooted in community care practices that go beyond simply housing young adults. Transitional housing programs normally in LA County are, they run like a dorm style. Host Homes is different, where we look for volunteers in the community that are able to provide that community care that a youth might not receive. And so Host Homes, it's short-term transitional housing. So we run for 6 months, and we offer that housing for short term as that youth who is experiencing homelessness has now a short-term place to stay, a stable environment for 6 months where they're able to really work to build authentic relationships and to move beyond their housing crisis and make their own decisions of what they want to do moving forward. So I should also mention that Host Homes, it's considered a voluntary program. So both the youth and the hosts that house the youth are volunteers. They can opt out at any time. This is something that they're not restricted to a contract to stay in. It is very much, we want those who are participating to feel comfortable and safe within the program, and we work to do that. All right, next slide, please. So here is what the process of engagement looks like for young adults coming into the program. The first thing that we do is we want to screen them and make sure that those youth that are interested and hosts that are interested are eligible. So our hosts go through their separate screening process to make sure that they are safe individuals, that the place they are staying in and offering to youth is safe housing. The youth also go through a screening process to make sure that they are eligible for the program, looking at what their housing situation looks like, if they're willing to live with a community member that they might not know, and to see how old they are and what they're living, what their household looks like. The second thing that we do is we train our hosts. So we make sure our hosts have training and understanding of what it means to have a youth come into their home that might have experienced crisis, that might not understand, how to communicate well, how to go through conflict and all of that. And also we're working to also train our hosts to give them some basis of what does it look like to live in community, some life skills building into them. We then have each participant and our guests, or our guests or participants is what we call them, and our hosts fill out profiles. These allow us to safely kind of introduce the host and the guest to each other if they don't know each other. And then when a youth comes in that's interested in living with a community member, we provide them with the host profile, and then we provide the youth with the host profile as well. So both are kind of seeing each other on paper first, and then we work to do a meeting together to see if, hey, is this going to work? Is this going to be a comfortable space for each of you? The last thing that happens is we do a contract, a living contract, to say, hey, these are the expectations of what it's going to be like for us to live together. So the host can say, these are the expectations of living in my home. The guest can also say, these are the expectations I have of moving in, of what privacy is to me, what safety is to me, all of that. And then both parties receive this ongoing support. So we don't just match them and then leave them. The youth receives case management, wraparound support. We link them to other services if needed. And the host also receives ongoing support and training. So we offer opportunities for them to continue their training and understanding and learning. Next slide. So here are the benefits. What is going on within the program? For a host, some of the main benefits are this. They get an ongoing support from myself, the Host Homes Program Coordinator, as well as the host community. So we're working on building out that community more. They receive a stipend. We don't pay rent. This is a stipend, so it's a financial gift for that host to say, we understand it costs to have a guest living in your home, so this is how much we are offering. And then they also receive the catalyst to be, or the opportunity to be a catalyst for change in the life of a young person. A lot of the time, these young people are coming in with very little community support. And so our hosts then become that. They become mentors, they become support people working and living beside this youth. In regards to in regards to the other benefits that actually benefit the community, we see that our hosts are trained in mandated reporting and crisis response. So we make sure that our hosts receive that can go beyond just having a person living in their home, but into the community as well. The funds that the hosts are receiving go directly back into the community as they're living and working in this community. And we're also cultivating community building. We're advocating to directly invest in community members, to encourage the community members to directly invest their time and resources in combating youth homelessness. Next slide. Here are the benefits to participants. They receive a safe and supportive environment to heal and stabilize, a short term for them to breathe. They also receive ongoing supportive services from a case manager. They get linked to supportive services that we can't offer as a homeless agency that they may need a little bit more of. And then they get financial assistance as well. So they get move-in assistance as well as grocery and transportation assistance. In this, the benefits are that we see a decrease in homelessness in the community. We also see a decrease of risk for a youth entering back into homelessness. Studies have shown that if a youth is engaged with and supported in their young adulthood as they're facing homelessness, there's a decreased risk for them entering back in further in adulthood. This is also a program that is flexible, the only transitional housing program in the Antelope Valley and in Lancaster that we're able to house single parents. So this is also great in that flexibility. Currently, in the past year, we've been able to serve 6 single moms and house them with community members that have brought care and support to them. So for those of you who love stats, I'm gonna kind of offer a glimpse of what the stats look like of what we've been able to do in this past year. Next slide. So this past year, we've had 28 community referrals. We've had 15 enrollments, so 15 youth have been housed with our program this past year, and then 9 of those youth have been exited to permanent housing. Next slide.
What happened to the other 6?
So the other 6, it's usually temporary housing, so it can vary. Some of my youth have been exited to transitional housing programs in other locations. Some have been exited to subsidized housing, like with the military, all of that. So, yeah. Host homes impact in Lancaster. So here's what we're seeing. Out of those referrals that are coming in, 41% of those who are being referred to our program are within Lancaster city limits. Next. For those who have been housed within our program, those 15 that have been housed, 62% were housed in Lancaster within the program. And then finally, next. And for those who have exited to permanent housing, 88% were exited to permanent housing within Lancaster. So it means either they have a room rental, or they're living, or an independent rental, or they're living with family permanently. Okay. Next slide. So here's what we're hoping to get from this today. We want to broaden our community awareness. We want to make sure that the community knows about this program more and more. The more people who know, the more hopefully we have hosts that are in the right environment and are able to provide the care for the youth that we need. And we're also looking just to build community awareness that we're here. And in that, I've provided, if you want to do the next slide, there's I've got a QR code that I'm trying to share with as many as possible. It goes to our host eligibility screening. It's just a quick questionnaire if they're interested to let me know what they're able to offer and what their living situation is. So, any questions?
you know, I get what you want. Do you have a solution? I mean, how can we help you
Yeah.
specifically?
Specifically, that's a great question. So a few things. One, we want to try and get information out on as many platforms as possible. So if you have a community way that we can do that through the city of Lancaster to provide information. I also do monthly information sessions, just like the one happening for community members to get involved with on Eventbrite. So any way, any platform that we can get to advertise about the program in hopes of recruiting good volunteers that are eligible and willing to do this, that's great.
Can we get an Outlook article done? Okay, so that'll go to every home.
Great.
That's a start.
All right.
What kind of background check do you do on the host?
So we do fingerprintings. We do the full screening background check on them. Yeah, and we're looking for any felonies, anything like that, that would screen them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any psychological assessment?
No, unfortunately, but a lot of the time, like we're spending time with our hosts, getting to know them, and trainings are face-to-face, like they're in person. So we're able to see and engage in that sense as well.
You know, my concern would be I don't want these kids victimized.
Yeah, and that is our concern too. And we also have safety conversations. It's good to know that the youth coming in, they're adults, and they are made very aware that this is a volunteer program. And if they feel unsafe at any time, they have a case manager to go to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And they have myself as a coordinator also to say, okay, what is going on? Do we need to go back to a contract to try and update it? Or do we need to get you out of that space as soon as possible? So we let them know, what does safety look like to you, and let them know you can leave at any time. You're not bound to that. We have emergency housing that we would be able to offer in transition if needed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, if you got the Outlook, staff will work with you on our social media. And yeah, it's a good program. We'll do what we can.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh.
Ladies, another suggestion I have, it's not the solution for everyone, but maybe have some of the recruiters for the different military branches come out and speak to the youth. The military is not for everyone, but it provides a roof over your head, adventure. It's one of the ways that you can put a roof over their heads, so.
Wait a minute, did you just sell the military as adventure?
It is an adventure, and it's a roof over their head. Perfect age, too, 18 and 25.
I will bite my tongue.
I did bite my tongue.
All right. Moving on to the consent calendar. Any items on the consent calendar that need to be removed?
Yes, we need to pull CC6, and I'll move that we accept the consent calendar as currently comprised, pulling CC6.
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote. It passes unanimously. CC6, what, do we have a speaker card? Okay. David Paul.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, good afternoon. You know, I'm intrigued by this item on the agenda, and I want to tell you that Fran is most interested. She called me concerned she could not be here, so I want you all to know that she's interested. But without knowing what the interest is, I'll just say that the city needs the ability to do what it needs to do with regard to the authorized flags. There are other ways to express people's individual desires. And when I get up here for public comments, I have a thing prepared because Flag Day is coming up in a few days, and I have some thoughts about the flag. But on this, I agree that you want to just run up the pole or put it at half-mast for dignitaries who die, the American flag, the state flag, the county flag, or the city flag. That seems pretty fundamental. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve CC 6.
Second.
Let's vote. And it passes unanimously. Public hearing item 1. Public hearing is now open. And George Harris will be providing the staff report. Now, we'd like you to meticulously go through the budget.
Line by line.
Isn't that right?
Explain this.
I don't know who they are.
All ready? First time I get to say good afternoon, and I even wrote it wrong in the notes, good evening. Old habits die hard. So good afternoon, Vice Mayor and Council. Today, George Harris and I will be presenting the 24-25 budget.
Let's do that again. Good afternoon, who?
Good afternoon, Mayor,
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, and City Council. Today, George Harris and I will be presenting on the 24-25 budget. See, it's the time change. It's throwing me off. 5 o'clock, I'm on. Through Council's leadership, I'm happy to report today that we have a balanced budget. It has a healthy general fund of $116 million, and we have a 40% reserve in that budget. That equates to about $45 million. I think this is a true testament to this council's commitment to ensuring that we are financially resilient as we go forward. And I also know that there's not a lot of cities that can say that they have the financial strength that we have. George and the financial team and myself had the opportunity last week to present to S&P for the bond financing. That's actually the next item. And they were blown away at our financial strength. So I think that is a true testament to the leadership of this council of the last 16 plus years. So thank you for that. This budget is also loaded with a lot of key projects, events, and programs that we will discuss. But first, let's talk about what we did this past year. So we had an $80 million capital budget this past year. 49 of that went into our roads. Also our interchanges, which Avenue J is under construction right now. That equated to 11 construction projects. We also started the police station, Mariposa Park, Samaritan's Purse Park, Raleigh-Duntley Park. We finished the design of the MARC, the Multi-Agency Resiliency Center. We finished the design of the stadium. That went out to bid this past Friday. So we're moving things forward. It was a very successful year. In terms of our parks, because they didn't want to be outdone, through our events, they saw about 160,000 residents. Our biggest event of the year was the Poppy Fest. They did 60,000 folks, which was a record. We haven't done that in the past. I think we also had the most animals that we've ever had in the livestock auction. So that was a good move to move that from the fall to the spring. That event was named by USA Today as a 10 Best Reader's Choice Travel Award for Best Flower Festival. So huge success. We did the Rock and Roll event, which was 4,000 people. 4th of July, Farmers Market did over 20,000 people this year. Monday Night Bites, which I think is my son's favorite event just because he always begs me to go to the churro truck. But hey, what the heck, it's pretty good. I kind of like the bomb fish taco myself. And then Haunt at the Hangar did 11,000 residents. Fields of Draft sold out again. Then we wrapped the year up with Magical Boulevard and the Bunny Hop. In terms of parks improvements, we ribbon cut and did a grand opening for the OMP hard courts. That was adding a new pickleball courts, landscaping, LED lighting, refrigerated water fountains. That cost about $900,000. And I think the mayor and Councilman Mann can attest, you guys were there at that grand opening. We made a lot of people happy that day, and those courts were packed that day, and I think they've been packed since that day, the entire time. I mean, you go out there and try to play, good luck getting your spot. We opened up a recording studio this year, state-of-the-art, right here on the boulevard. It has reduced or very low rental rates for those that live in the community and want to take advantage of that. So we're looking to see what next big band or act comes out of there. We continued in the spirit of installing public art in the city. We did the Lifelines, which was an animated, you download an app at the Prime Desert Woodland Preserve. You open up the app and you can see kind of some digital art that has music and whatnot going and birds chirping and all of that. It's a very neat exhibit. And then we did the Super Bloom here at the end of the boulevard, adding some color and flair to that area. LPAC, attendance is back up to pre-pandemic levels, and they're doing really good things over there. The new shows will be announced here pretty soon. And then most importantly, our parks team really provided amazing programs from youth to seniors and everything in between, continuing to enrich the life of our residents. So where are we going in this year's budget, and what does this budget have in it? First, $175 million capital budget. And this is just what it is today, but we do plan to come back in October once we have a better idea of what all of the special funding revenues are, and we will be programming additional budget into this. This is not all programmed in this year. This is carryover, a lot of grant funding, and that's why the dollar amount is so large. We continued construction on Avenue J. That will be completed this year. You can see the progress on the on and off ramps there. The other important thing to note, if you look in that corner there, that is excess right-of-way that will become a pocket park. We got $2.5 million in Measure A funds to fund that. And in the financing deal, we're putting another $2.5 million to give a $5 million build out of that location. So looking forward to seeing this project done and operating in the next year. We made progress on the health district. Phase 1 is completed, so 18th Street is constructed, and we have access to Life Points Behavioral Health Hospital. And then we are working on right-of-way acquisitions and scoping of Phase 2 with our partner KHJR. They're our development partner on this project. So that is in this year's budget. And the MARC. So this is the $85 million project that is out to bid right now. It's located at the fairgrounds. It consists of 3 buildings, the 140,000 square foot event center, 26,000 square foot emergency operations center, and then the 7,500 square foot community kitchen. So that is out to bid right now. Bids open on June 27th, and we plan to start construction this July on that building. So looking forward to seeing that happening. And a glimpse of what it looks like inside is here, so you can kind of get an idea of what magnitude events we can have in there. It's, I think, 8 basketball courts, 16 volleyball courts, very flexible floor space. That should be done fall of 2025, so about a year and a half from now. Next project in this year's budget is the stadium conversion to the soccer team. That's a $12.5 million project. It actually went out to bid last Friday. We plan to come back to award the construction contract at the city council meeting July 23rd. So looking forward to that. And I think we can all, there was a party that they did, it was about a month ago, I believe, where they announced the team name AV Alta. It was packed with 2,000 people. They had smoke bombs, drums, you name it. They were making all kinds of noise. The community has really bought in and are passionate about this team. They opened season ticket sales that next Saturday morning. We are the fastest USL1 team in history to sell 1,000 season tickets. That just gives you an idea of how the community is really connecting with us. So looking forward to seeing this project. The capacity of the new stadium, 5,800 seats. The goal is to have 4,000 season tickets sold by September. And they kick off playing in here March of next year. We have money in here for landscaping, so $582,000 of reoccurring ongoing maintenance, and then $2 million for the Sierra Highway to finish those improvements there, adding some fencing and additional landscaping, and then another $2 million to improve the Avenue L on and off ramps. And then our Parks Department, they're continuing all those amazing events that they did last year. I think it starts here real soon. June 29th, we have the Celebrate Lancaster on the Boulevard party, bringing out a band and a drone show. And then July 4th, obviously, we have the fireworks show there. So looking forward to those. The other thing that Parks is working on and that is in this budget is the Parks Master Plan. And there is $3 million that is going to be slated to get a head start and really make a huge public art push in the community, in addition to everything else we already have out there. And then Parks is also working on their Parks and Open Space Master Plan, which will provide them kind of their North Star on where they're going into the future. The priority projects for parks this year: Samaritan's Purse Park, Mariposa Park, and Raleigh Dunley, and getting those built out. And then last but not least, for sure, is our Lancaster Police Station. So as I think Rod alluded to in your earlier presentation, you were saying that we are going to be done with this remodel and moving in July 8th. So that's very soon. It incorporates all the technology that we've been talking about. It has an intelligent crime center in it, which will be equipped with all the artificial intelligence, the flock cameras, all of that. They have a master control room to monitor all of that technology. Lancaster PD is now in the process of hiring their officers. I think they're onboarding their first few. There's still recruitments out on several officers, a sergeant, a dispatcher. They're implementing all of the new technologies in that crime room to ensure that we continue to solve 100% of our Part 1 crimes. Their virtual training center, I think I was listening to Rod yesterday talk about that one. We can actually bring folks in, train staff, set up any scenario we want, and run them through the scenario and see how they perform. So that's going to be a huge benefit to having in that facility. And then lastly, we're implementing some new KPIs to really monitor our effectiveness in the community going forward and the programs that we're putting in place. So all of these things to say, we are making our community safer through this council's leadership and commitment to public safety. With that, I'll turn it over to George, and he can dive deeper into the numbers.
So this will begin the meticulous review of the budget document.
You let him take all the pictures, all the really interesting stuff, and now you got to do the numbers?
They sometimes allow me to take the green visor off to leave my office. This is the meticulous review. If you do have your documents, let's start on page 50 and work our way through page 100. I'm just kidding. Every year when we go into the budget process, we do think of we do have a set of assumptions when we go into the budget process. And typically, the base set of assumption is we want to continue everything that we've been doing well. So our base budget are all those things operationally that we've been doing historically, and we have to carry that over into the next year. Of course, we're not cutting anything in most years. But we do have some key items that we know that are going to be new for that fiscal year and that we want to build in. So there are a few things we'll talk about. In general, we go into the process with the assumption that we're going to have a balanced budget. And by balanced budget, we're not going to spend more money than we're going to bring in that same year, right?
That doesn't sound like the American way to me.
Well, we actually have been fortunate to where we've made more money than what we spent in the past year. So it has the appearance that we're spending more money that we bring in a single year, but we're spending last year's money. We're spending fund balance down, and I'll show you kind of what the effects of that have been on their overall picture. The Lancaster Police Department implementation. So we are now year 3 into that implementation. The first year we spent about $4.5 million over what we had historically spent for public safety prior to the hybrid model. Last year, or in the current year, we spent about $10 million in this planned budget. It's about $11 million more than what we were spending before we implemented the model. Hydrogen. And at the May 28th meeting, Jason did a great presentation on a couple of projects that we have going there with a lot of work with himself and Alexis and the team. And of course, you, Mayor, moving that ball forward. There's a lot of emphasis this year on making sure that we can continue that effort and that there's funding available for that. Measure LC priorities, that's never going to fall off the radar. We made a commitment to the community that we are going to stay very transparent on how we spend those Measure LC dollars. So every year with this process, we share what those specific expenditures are. And it's very similar as last year, where there's a mix of public safety, parks, resources, and especially community preservation through the cleanup activities that we have. Capital improvement program, as Trelise just discussed, we're continuing to build those things that we programmed in prior years. In October, we're going to return with more capital projects and more activities that are spending down those special revenue resources. And that's it. And then there's just a few minor personnel changes that we'll talk about at the end. Overall, so when we talk about what is the city's budget, we get that question all the time. What is the general city budget? If you look at the entire city, we bring in about $317 million in revenue. And right now, as it sits, there's 259 programmed in expenditures with a minor 6.4 out of gas tax and capital improvements that's programmed now with this action. Further projects are going to be added in October. We're leaving us with $136 million. That grew significantly because we have yet to program those expenditures. We will be doing that in October. Significant budget impacts, those things that we're adding new, they're not necessarily new, but there's an emphasis on them. Like I said, we are now spending $11.4 million more on our police department than we spent 2 years ago. And so that's significant investment into that activity that we're taking very serious. And as that grows and we go through the budget process, we make sure that we're making the necessary adjustments to be able to accommodate that activity on a go-forward basis. Charlie's already talked about the MARC, the soccer stadium, and one more slide, or one more piece there about how much we're investing in the hydrogen activities. Specifically, general fund. The general fund, as Vice Mayor Chris commonly calls it, the green bucket, and that's where the council has the most latitude to make decisions on how that money is spent. Majority of your staffing is being funded out of the general fund. The majority of the operation costs are being funded out of your general fund. Right now, that's $114 million expected in revenue, with planned expenditures of $114 million as well. The projected ending reserve is about $48 million. Reserve requirement is $45.9 at this point. So we actually have a programmed a little bit more over the reserve requirement by year end. This is kind of how fund balance has grown. If you see in 2021, it spiked when we had ARPA money, and then we've been slowly spending that down on projects and one-time activities. A lot of the money that you see going into the police department is not spending ARPA money. It's spending that money that we received and putting into those projects as there's an estimate, or there's a requirement that money be spent by 26. So we make sure we're getting it all into the projects that we talked about prior. You've seen this a million times. We talk about it every year, the reserve policy, just wanting to know and want the community to know that our reserve policy is constructed and approved by the council to make sure that we can cover any contingency that may impact our ability to fund ongoing operations, and that's why it was established the way it was. The 3 positions in personnel that are added, these are a conversion of part-time positions to full-time positions. So one was done in the field service department for parks, and 2 in the area of public works. And so really, it's kind of it's a net zero impact as part-time salaries were cut to be able to accommodate those 3 new bodies. Measure LC. So the list for Measure LC is, like I described before, is a mix of those priorities that we identified when the Measure LC was passed. So public safety, we talked about that $11.4 million. The MARC. Now, what this is going to be on an ongoing basis, support for Measure LC is the debt service that is going to fund the capital that's being built for the MARC and the soccer stadium, and we'll be talking about that on the next item, actually. LPAC continued to be supported by Measure LC. Community Center that we built a few years ago, those operations are continuing to be funded by LC. Citywide special events. Then we added a few positions in the first few years that are still here, so that they're continuing to be supported. And of course, from a community standpoint, those illegal dumping, those encampment cleanups are still a priority of the Measure LC funds. Future action items. This is just a public hearing.
Go back to the cleanup.
Yes.
Illegal dumping and encampment cleanup, $1.3 million
annually.
It's too bad we don't have a DA that would prosecute illegal dumping. Maybe we could get that down to a more reasonable figure. Mm-hmm. That's insane. We throw $1.3 million away every year because.
Yeah, and Mayor, that's low. I think it's more than that. That's just what LC is covering.
Correct.
Oh.
It's more than that because we actually have other funds that contribute towards that effort as well.
So how much is it?
It's probably closer to $2 million.
Just thrown away because people can't. put their trash in a dumpster.
I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Truly said it's about 3.5 when you add up all the funding sources.
That's insane. All right, thank you.
So following steps, we're going to conduct a public, well, the council's going to conduct a public hearing tonight. We have our meeting with the Measure LC committee this Thursday, and then we'll return on June 25th for the formal adoption. And then the new fiscal year begins July 1st and carries to June 30th next year. And I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Aren't all of the trash bills now part of the tax, property tax?
Yeah, so everybody has service.
So everybody has a can, right, or a couple cans, 3 cans, right?
Yep. And that's a combination of illegal dumping as well as homeless camp encumbrance as well. So there's a combination of, in that budget. So this is waste left by homeless in our drainage ditches, in our parking lots, and wherever you find them, as well as the illegal dumping out in the community.
I'd like a breakdown. How much is illegal dumping? How much is the encampments? That's outrageous. I mean, imagine what we could do with that money. I mean,
It's probably time for a report to you as well on the homeless efforts. I know Chief has been focused on that. Some of the pictures are shocking. I don't think people understand the amount of work, time, and energy and public resources that go into fixing these. We're not even fixing the problem, that are going into cleaning up these problems. We'll plan to do that.
perhaps we should publish those pictures in the Outlook magazine and let people see what's really going on out there and what the effect of having a DA who protects this type of behavior. All right? Thank you. Any questions, any comments?
I think staff did a great job.
Me too. So is there any other city with that kind of reserve that we have? I mean, I want to brag a little bit, you know.
I've worked for 4 cities. This is the first city that has as high as 40%. The other city that I worked for, City of Rialto, and I don't mind calling them out, we had a sizable reserve that I thought when I was their finance director, and it was at 30%. So as us sitting at 40% is high. The only other city that I know of that has reserves higher than that is the city of Rancho Cucamonga, and their reserve policy is set at 100%. So there's argument that could be made that they don't need 100% reserve sitting there, and they should be putting that money into the community and building projects. But 40% is above average.
We're pretty much in a situation, no matter what happens, we're covered.
No
We're
matter what.
resilient, right? Good. Thank you for doing that. That wasn't always the case. Should I ask about neighboring? No, I shouldn't, should I? Thank you.
So, Rex, I think we do want to make note, if we go back in time, I think we started with a 15% reserve, if I'm not
That's correct.
incorrect, right?
It was 10 or 15
Yes.
when I got this.
And so over the life of at least some of us up here, we've been able to build that up to now over 40%. So I think that
Yeah,
needs
but
to
if you
be.
point to the 3 of us, that was a lifetime.
But I just want to, I just want that for the record. I think sometimes people don't realize we've done what we've done, but at the same time, we've put money in the bank as well. So I think that's quite an accomplishment when we look at what we're going to do this next coming year, and we still hold on to that reserve.
I just wanted to add, the effort to build the reserves happened in advance of that policy being created. You had built the reserves, the council had built those reserves up, and we had to adjust the policy to explain why there was so much in reserve. So that effort was long-term strategy that ended up working, and I applaud the council for doing it.
You're doing a good job. Thank you.
Mayor, may I make a quick comment?
Yes.
So I think one of the luxuries of being the new gal on the team is that I get to learn from you guys. And having sat on other councils, committees, boards, this is what I know. So when I join other teams, I ask questions like, wait a second, where's your reserve? And I won't call out any other agencies that I'm a part of.
That makes you popular.
They say, we don't necessarily do things like they do in Lancaster. So there's some big events happening like the World Cup or the Olympics, and I'm a part of an agency that's trying to prepare for those big events. And we don't have the freedom or the flexibility to just go out and buy new infrastructure or new, maybe say train sets, because we don't have the reserve. So while we have 40% in our reserve, I think what the people in the audience don't necessarily understand is, yes, we have the financial freedom and flexibility and we're prepared, but we're not just talking about another situation like COVID. We're talking about seeking and taking advantage of opportunities for our community, for our citizens. So it's more than just saying, wow, look at how far we've come. It's being able to say, hey, look at that opportunity. We're not sitting here having to wait and hope and dream and plan. We have that freedom, that financial flexibility. So this is a big deal, and I'm so happy and thankful to be a part of this team that has already set that in place in motion. And I think that there are other cities out there, like George has said, that they don't necessarily, they're not in this position that we are. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. I was going to close the public hearing. I hadn't forgotten. All right, maybe I did. Public hearing is now closed. Is
There
a
were no
motion?
comment cards, just making sure.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm making sure there were no comment cards.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll move that we adopt Resolution 24-27 and adopt Resolution FA 01-24.
I second that.
Let's vote.
I'm sorry, I think the motion you were on was on the joint public hearing.
I'm sorry.
He gave a motion for the joint public hearing item instead of the one we're on.
Right, so the item that we just did was the budget, which the recommended action is that you conduct the public hearing and direct staff to schedule the proposed fiscal year 2024-25 budget and 5-year capital improvement plan adoption for June 25th, 2024. So that's the action item on this item. So I would request that that be the motion.
Okay.
And I second that.
Let's vote. And it passes unanimously. Council reports.
We need to do JPH 1,
I'm sorry, did I miss
joint
one?
public hearing 1. Yes.
Oh, JPH one. Okay, so let's move to joint public hearing. Is now open. We'll hear a staff report again from George, is that right? Any speaker cards?
None.
Let's waive the, as captivating as your speech was, and how much we all enjoyed the numbers. Is there a motion? Oh, I got to
No,
close the
does the-
public hearing, don't I?
Does the city attorney want to do it?
I'll do it if you want me to.
Go ahead.
All right, the recommended action is to adopt Resolution 24-27 on behalf of the City Council, and on behalf of the Financing Authority, adopt Resolution FA 01-24. And if we haven't already, please close the public hearing.
So, can I do it? Close the public hearing?
We're ready to vote.
Okay. Let's vote.
Did we have a
I
second?
need a motion and a second.
I made the motion.
I didn't hear a second, I'm sorry. Did I
You
miss
know, I did this so it'd be easy.
it?
Second that.
Thank you.
Let's vote. And it passes unanimously. Now, council reports?
Just working on everything.
No action required on the Housing Authority, no action required on the Power Authority. Same for the successor agency, whatever that is. I probably shouldn't make comments like that, should I? City Manager.
Yes, before I get started on the reports, our finance team is there in the audience. I know that the budget is presented to you guys, but there's a significant amount of work that happens behind the scenes, and they've done a wonderful job, so salute to you guys. Amazing budget, smooth, capable. Everybody seemed happy at the end of the day, so well done to the team. So,
Wait a minute, I thought George did all this. George.
You don't really believe that?
I don't.
We had the honor of attending an event that the mayor was at, so he did a presentation, a fireside chat on hydrogen. So we got a short video on that. Mayor, I don't know if you want to add to that, but it's a short video of that talk.
Is there anybody in this room who thinks we have a technological solution to stopping climate extinction? Nobody ever raised their hand. Nobody. I mean, I asked that repeatedly. Now people raise their hand, because we can store those electrons. We can store that energy from the sun. The message is it's cheaper and it's safer. If you have innovative solutions and you want to get that project up and running quick, come see us, because I guarantee you it'll be at least a year faster. We're on a mission, and that mission is what I think everybody in this room understands. We are facing extinction, and if we don't do something rapidly, it's lost, and we are losing.
So you chose the cheery part of the.
Got to clean it up. I can tell you that through the mayor's leadership at these events, Lancaster is highlighted in every one of those presentations, not only about the projects that we've been doing, but the projects we're going to do and the place that people want to do them. And I think it's a testament to the mayor, obviously, but also your leadership, that we are kind of on the forefront of something that's kind of pretty dang cool and spectacular. So thank you, Mayor.
It's a difficult message that we have, but the reason that budget is like it is because of our alternative energy program. I mean, it has brought in an enormous amount of money to the city, and we would not be nearly as financially secure, right? But it's a hard message. It's a difficult message because it's new and people are concerned. But we are going to corner the market on hydrogen, and that profit comes into the city. There's a lot of reasons we're doing this, but it's nothing but benefit that we can see. And the way we're cornering the market is we're doing it in a risk-free way, or this much risk, this much reward. I'm excited about it, and so should everybody else be, except it's just difficult to understand, That's why we have George. Thank you. Okay. City Clerk.
This is the time to address the City Council Agency Authority on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards may be found on the back table of the council chambers. If you have completed one, please ensure you have placed it in the basket so you may be recognized. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please keep in mind, state law prohibits the council from acting on items not on the agenda, and your matter may be referred to the city manager. Thank you.
Cesar Alvarez? Yes. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, City Council, Marvin. Some of you I've met before. It's been a while since I've been in. I just came in to let you know I haven't seen you in a while. I was trying to catch you at your office to let you know I became a singer. I'm a national anthem singer at Edwards Air Force Base. I'm retired now. But I came to tell you and the city that I'm here to offer my services in singing, and I will audition at baseball games and such. Looking forward to the soccer. The reason that I'm here, I popped up, was I saw something mentioned about the soccer fields, and also tell you that I'm really happy. Wasn't too involved with the bicycle lanes, but I plan on getting an electric bicycle, and I'm all excited about all the bicycle lanes and what the city's doing on some of these projects. I'm very excited and came here to thank you and show you, well, when I get a chance to see you, I'll show that General Schaefer gave me this white star at dinner for doing the MCs certain events, announcing and the national anthem and certain American songs like America the Beautiful, those kind of things. So I just quickly came down here to say thank you and to let the city know I look forward to auditions for those kind of events, singing the national anthems and beautiful songs to encourage and to inspire our city.
So Sonia, have you auditioned him yet? I mean,
I'm
you're
sure
the
we
one
will,
that makes the
but
call on this.
you'll contact. I'm easy to find. You'll see me at the baseball games and events. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, city.
Ramona Rusum?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. My name's Ramona Russum, and once again, I live at 44916 10th Street West, and those are the Arbor Courts, which I was moved in. Valley Oasis had moved me there. I didn't want to move there. Well, while moving there, I'm going to tell you first a little bit about myself really quick. Is I was homeless, second time, for a decade, 10 years? And I appreciate the housing. I really do appreciate it. And I thought now I could get my life together even better and go to school and be a trucker and that. Well, when I mentioned it to GR, they, I guess, didn't want me to. And then I ended up being attacked by they call it today an MK, ultra energy weapon. And that ultra energy weapon, let me tell you, it can turn you inside out. It changed my life forever. And I want answers as to why was I attacked by that. You changed my life forever, Mayor. Why am I being attacked there, okay? And why is Solari Enterprise Property Management and resident managers allowed to attack me? And why is Global Enterprise Protection allowed to treat the tenants that they abuse the elderly there? We're all being abused, okay? My research in that, because my help by our sheriff's department, I didn't get any help. I could not even make police reports. I go in there, but I could see people that went in there with a darker color skin, they got their reports taken. I have people breaking into my apartment, but they don't break in. They're allowed in from the managers, okay, to put paperwork that shouldn't be in there, and then take it out, to damage my food, to throw up in my food, to wipe their ass, all over my bedding that I just cleaned, okay? I'm being attacked on a daily basis there. I'm fighting to keep my sanity. Okay, and what I come to determine with all my investigating of myself, because I had no help, it distracts you so bad. It's inhumane to have something walk out of your body that it's an energy thing they have there, and the managers and the maintenance and them are involved because they put some kind of energy sheet in my unit. Assuming they thought I wasn't home, but I was laying in bed, and through my window, the sheet of energy just rippled over my body. And I didn't look to see where it went, but I'm just putting things together. And the ghost thing, it's all 3D. What do they call it? That's not 3 minutes. Anyways, I want answers, okay? I didn't sign up for any of this, okay? You ruined my life, Mayor. Because we're under your jurisdiction and you know what's going on there. Because now I guess it's a HUD housing. Because now a ramp went up and that yellow bubble stuff went up. So I'm not a bad person, okay? And from my research, I came across is my calls are being blocked going out and being blocked coming in. Okay, and I know I have an inheritance coming.
Thank you. Your time, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't have answers for you. Shut the mic, please. Good.
There's 4,000 people at that rock and roll thing. That's where they wanted me to shoot up the people there. I tell the day one captain, he tells me,
Ma'am, please, please,
why hasn't he questioned me? All I
please.
my life and other people's life.
Thank you.
And he doesn't even, the last time I was here, he didn't even take concern to come and see me, Mayor. And my inheritances are not your lost treasures. And I advise people to move out of Lancaster because it's going to get nooked, just like Hawaii with the hydro did. And he's annihilating humanity. And I'll get
It is not easy being mayor, and I mean that sincerely. Okay, Elder Missionary H.J. Thompson.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Today I'm here just for an introduction of myself, of who I am and where I come and what I've been through. But most of all, I say I'm a stakeholder because I have great-grandkids here in Lancaster. One of my great-grandkids had a birthday, and I was able to see all 14 of my great-grandkids, but 2 are still missing, my daughters and all that. But to make a long story short, this is, pass this around, if it's okay.
Of course.
This is my Bible right here. This is where I stand. I'm a member of the NAACP. My church is right here off of 20th and Lancaster Boulevard. I have a victim rights assistance program. Through our victim rights assistance program, we are starting to provide legal assistance for seniors and those that can't afford it. I'm here today. I operate. The work that I do in the community, I stand before you to talk the talk, because I can walk the walk, because I've been through it. I've been on Section 8. I know it's keeping people from being homeless. It was causing homelessness. I work with people dealing with PTSD and cancer, and I was misdiagnosed here since I've been here. I had a picture of me and the councilman, LA Councilor Herb Weston, me and him together. I started programs in Pacoima, and the city stole all my programs, duplicated them, and stopped accepting my rent. So I learned not to start anything, but find stuff that's already started and have an input in that. I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly here in Lancaster. Most of all, it's a beautiful place. It can be beautiful, and if we all working together, and I'm implementing, and I would like the council to take in consideration partnering with us to start our first annual Kwanzaa event, which will be taught 365 days of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is just a holiday. Kwanzaa is 7 principles that if you incorporate those 7 principles in your life, you'll find yourself a different person. I have the means and ability, we have the means and ability to bring cultures together, a multicultural event. This event will be, and we just asked for funding partnership. I will have more paperwork in the future. Like I say, just today, I'm just here to introduce myself and to be more of a plus instead of a negative to this community, help it grow. I have a lot of ideas.
You have credentials.
I got many more. I got a whole, I didn't want to bring all of them out. I fill this table up.
You've already established credibility. We don't have anybody from social equity, do we? I mean, you do. So talk to Heather at the end, when we're done.
I think I met with I met with her and, did you? I met with a couple of the, to implement. A couple of programs, but I didn't want to tell everything.
It sounds like an interesting idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodney Curry.
Good evening, or good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Rodney L. Curry. I've been a resident of Lancaster for 18 years, retired high school teacher, and live in Cooperstown. Have my house up for sale currently in Cooperstown, and about 2 weeks ago, there was a shooting in Cooperstown in my neighborhood. And it really concerns me because I've been, working with young people and for the last 20-something years with gang members and working with kids in high schools and other programs. And so now it hits home in my own neighborhood. And so what concerns me is that my house is up for sale. A potential buyer came by and we agreed on the terms of my house being sold. House went into escrow. And then about a week and a half ago, there was a shooting in Cooperstown. The potential buyers, they came through at night to do a neighborhood check. And they drove right into the shooting in Cooperstown. And then, of course, they pulled out because of the violence. And so this is concerning me because now it hits home, literally. And so my question is, I would like to know, because this is my first time coming into council in 18 years that I've been living in Lancaster. I commuted from Lancaster to Compton every day for 12 years. As a high school teacher, I'm retired now. But I would like to know who is the council person that's for that district where I live at. Maybe we can sit and come to terms of how we can do some resolutions in working with these young people because, they are out doing some things that are not, ethical. They're unethical, and it's hurting our community. So I'm about community. I'm about people. And so we need to come together and make a difference for our kids and our young people, our young adults, because it's a tragic thing to, go to a funeral. I've been to many funerals of young people from 14 to 25 years old laying in a casket, both young women and young men. And so we need to make a difference in our community. And so my whole thing, since I've been a kid, I was a little kid growing up in Compton, I loved Grizzly Adams. And so I have an opportunity to move to Tehachapi because I have a house waiting on, but I got to sell my house to get the house in Tehachapi. But I think God has a plan for me to stay just a little bit longer to fix the situation that's going on in my community. Thank you. I got 24 seconds. I want to yield back my time. But I want to thank you for meeting you formally, Mayor, because I've seen your pictures on the 14 freeway for many years now. So now I get to actually meet you in person. And so thank you, sir. I yield back my 10 seconds.
Thank you. My wife tells me that that's not me up on those pictures, that's the brand. We're aware of the gang violence seems to be resuming. We successfully dropped it. We dropped it 86%, actually, but it's coming back up. And without a fully manned, functioning sheriff's department, we're having to come up with innovative solutions to it. But before this term is over, if we have to hire mercenaries, we will. I want to be very clear. I have no interest in giving one dime to gang members in any capacity. If they're out of the gang, I'll give them the shirt off my back. But gang members are terrorists, and they should be treated that way. And right now, we just simply don't have the manpower to treat them that way. But it's coming. It's coming. I know people sometimes that many people disagree with me on that, but I'm far more concerned about the kids being gunned down by them than I am about them. And that is the policy of this city. And Chief, they're coming, aren't they? Absolutely, sir. Thank you. And I understand people don't always agree, and I understand how controversial it is. But we are going to drive those people out of this city, and our children will be safe. Okay? Thank you. Mark Albright.
Ladies and
Did you bring
gentlemen.
help? Yeah, come on in. Let's have
My
a party.
neighbors.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is only the second time I've ever addressed a body of authority. First time, the judge said he admired my passion, but still found me guilty, and I had to pay the fine. So I'm 0 for 1.
Okay.
I hope this goes better. Some credentials. Really, I'm nervous. Some credentials. Do you remember the Cinemark stabbing 14, 15 years ago?
The what?
Where a young man was stabbed?
Oh, yes. Actually,
It was me who stopped it. And I received, my reward was getting stabbed myself.
I remember that. Yeah, my
It was
wife
myself,
wouldn't
my
let me go to the show
wife,
anymore.
and a 15-year-old girl that stopped that. And whether you know it or not, the young man survived. He's living a great life. He's got a family now. It's wonderful. So my involvement in this community goes way back, and it's not because I'm heroic, I'm just compelled. And the situation is, in our neighborhood, we have a house, 1114 Valiant.
Yeah.
It's directly across from us. I rent the house in 1115, and I pay the mortgage and the property taxes on 1121, so my daughters and their kids can live there. There's 10 houses. It's a cul-de-sac. There's 10 houses. 9 of them are occupied by very decent people, and now it's younger people. They all have families. This house has already been involved in a fire 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know if it's been condemned. We've talked to code enforcement for years on this house. Well, 3 nights ago, somebody crawled through the window and unbolted the front door and tried to move in there. So I went around and got the entire neighborhood to call the sheriff's department so they would respond. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's breaking and entering, right? Because they physically went through a window and opened the door that was secured, I think, by the city. Now, if she had been arrested for breaking and entering, I guarantee you the word would have gone out to the homeless community to stay away from the house. But now the house is open. There's no electricity, no water, no gas. Half the house is burnt. And the first thing, a lit match is going to set that house on fire again.
Is somebody squatting in it now?
No, because the entire neighborhood came out. All my neighbors came out this time, and the sheriffs responded to that. So, no, there's nobody in there, but the door is open, and I live directly across from there.
We will have code enforcement go there. If there's something we can do, we will. Usually, we just make the homeowner.
See, I don't know if it's still owned by the homeowner.
Somebody has to own it.
Or the city's taking it over for back taxes. I don't know. But it needs to be addressed, and
If we had taken it over, it would have been fixed and sold.
abatement needs to be done. I do that myself. I do it without compensation or without recognition. I keep the front of the house clean, only because property values, of course, are affected.
I'll do it. I'm sold. Okay?
See, I
It's
run off
done.
at the mouth.
All right.
I'm very passionate about things.
Well, you won this one.
Oh, I'm 1 for 1. Right on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And also, I'd like to thank you for what you're doing on Sierra Highway as far as the homeless. I just was made aware of it. I thank you very much for doing this, because we do have a homeless problem, and I'm very passionate about taking care of the homeless in this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Devin?
Oh, that would be me.
That
I'm
was
just
you?
here to reinforce what he's just told you about.
Wait a minute, he did the talking for
He
you?
did.
I mean, come on,
Well-
this is 2024.
Well, we've been dealing with this situation for many, many years.
Her house almost burnt down.
My house almost caught on fire when that house went up in flames.
Before the week is out. Okay, before the week
Thank you
is
so
out.
much,
All right.
because
Thank
it's,
you.
it's being
I totally get
unsafe,
it. I
unsafe.
totally get it. And-
Thank you so
and
much. We really appreciate
whatever
you
we can do,
taking
we will
action,
do.
because we've been seeking help for many years now
Sure.
without having any true results. We get bounced from one place to another. And it's just, we've gotten to the point where it's just unacceptable.
You're absolutely correct.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
can I use the bulldozer?
Can I? I know how to run an excavator.
We could take turns.
You gotta
I've been in
volunteer.
the construction trade my whole life.
But it needs to be secure
swear.
once you bulldoze the place.
We'll get it handled, all right?
Thank you so much.
Give me 10,
Thank
give
you.
me 10 teenagers with sledgehammers. We'll take it down in a weekend.
You know, if nobody's watching, what can we do? We can't stop it.
Thank you.
Thank you. David Paul, did you want to speak again?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, what a pleasure it is to be here. You know, Mayor, you're absolutely right. If we save the environment but we tear ourselves apart, it's all for naught. So we kind of have to work on two fronts. And I do love coming here and all the things I see, but my favorite is the Pledge of Allegiance. And we're pledging allegiance to the flag that stands for the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. So that's what it's about, preserving the republic. And, you know, I've felt bad for you in the last election because of some people that are on the far right side that want to push an agenda. And I feel bad for the people that are left out that will say in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag that we're producing liberty and justice for all, because they don't feel like that. So, you know, recently I was rereading Buckminster Fuller's Rethinking of the Lord's Prayer. And to some that would seem sacrilegious. Changing the Pledge of Allegiance would seem sacrilegious to some as well. But I would just like to see us recognize by creating a national trend. You know, Eisenhower added in the God part in the pledge in the 50s. And there's a lot of history about how all that happened. But, you know, if we just say, and to the republic for which it stands, one indivisible nation, under any God or no God you choose, still and ever pursuing liberty and justice for all. So that doesn't say that we provide it, it says that we're pursuing it. I saw on the news today, Chief Justice John Roberts, and there's a woman that goes around and pretends to be an ally where the Supreme Court hangs out, and said something about we're trying to build a white Christian nation. And he shut her down. He says, no, that's not the way we see it. And that's certainly not how my Jewish and Muslim friends feel. So to take that chip away from the people that want to make this a white Christian nation, and that's got to upset everybody else that doesn't feel that way. One nation, any God or no God you choose. I mean, I think that's important to work into that pledge because it's up to you. That's what freedom of religion is about. And as I leave here, I just want to say in the budget, I hope you guys found some money to review the pictures of you guys, the mayor and the council, because I go around the city and there's some places that still have Daryl Doris in there, and I'm not sure we're keeping Lauren. When I look at that, I don't know. So I would like to see us revise. Okay. Good night. Thank you.
Fix the pictures.
I just verified those are all getting installed, yes. Thank you.
Is mine bigger? No. Like, it just came out.
I
Anyone else? Anything? I have a couple things. Rosie, you have been charged with developing a training program for young adults who would be qualified to succeed the 3 old guys sitting on the council. Okay, 2 old guys and me, all right?
Is that Ken, Raj?
No. Where are we?
So yes, Mayor. So the mayor wanted me to work on a project to provide the community, not just the training, but I think it's also like the background, right? Of if you want to be involved in the community and involved in politics, well, what does that mean, right? And so I think we have a lot of talent here in the community, but I think we have to provide that opportunity, that training, those workshops that our community would like to take. So I'm still working on that because I was trying to find someone local here that provides those trainings. I found them in New York in different states. I haven't seen any those type of trainings here.
We are going to have to go out of the city. I don't know how far out of the city. It's going to take a time commitment from the people who want to do it. I think there should be a screening program to make sure that the people engaged are qualified people, but I want it done, all right? And I think what we saw in the last election with some of the candidates is we now have a city that is economically viable with a significant, amount of money that could be available. And I think we saw a money grab, quite frankly. I think that one of the candidates was clearly from the Palmdale Freedom Coalition, made no bones about it, had no interest in Lancaster, but did have an interest in what we have. I do not want to see that type of threat ever again. And the only way we can do that is to train people who are qualified, who love the city, and provide them with a vehicle to sit here. Once we identify those people, I will fund them. It's no secret that my wife and I have been incredibly blessed, and I'm not going to allow this city to be taken simply because people want to benefit themselves rather than the people who live here.
Correct. So the process, we don't know exactly how the process will look, but we do need to have a screening, an application, maybe like some interviews to make sure, we're not going to have a lot of spots available. So it's going to be a very a small amount of the community that will be able to be involved because it's going to be a lot of one-on-one training and workshops.
Good. So I'm assuming staff is listening to this. It has to be a priority, okay? Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you.
I hope everybody liked the new hours. The Planning Commission is also changing their hours. The city is now, I think, evolved to that place where we have to do things much more like a business, much more like a professional organization. Cities that are run by the city manager and the council just approves things, meet in the evening. I mean, that's the truth of it. That's no longer the case with Lancaster. It's going to be a much more professional, efficient, and I hope loving operation. All right? Thank you. For those of you who don't know, the reason for it is why would you want us sitting up here making decisions when we're exhausted, when we're tired? Why would I expect the staff to be able to do a good job after they've been working 16 hours? I mean, there's very good reasons why we're doing it, and we will continue to do it. It's a new day in Lancaster. Wouldn't you agree?
But you're cutting into Ken's nap time.
I really thought about that. you know, it did concern me. And finally, for the negative part of tonight, I saw a protest in front of the sheriff's station where somebody that I don't know how to explain his behavior, but actually used the word murder. But what I did not see, Captain, was a response. We cannot let these idiots stand up there and accuse the department of murdering somebody when it's just a lie, when it's just pulled out of their nose, right? We need to respond. Please talk to the higher-ups and tell them this habit they have of saying nothing isn't helping anybody. And I'm assuming there's cameras in there, right? I mean,
yes, absolutely, sir. And I had a discussion with our chief about changing some of those procedures, and it is an investigation conducted by Homicide and Detective Division who has to allow us to put out those messages. And we did put out a short, brief message to the AV Press who inquired. That was put in the Alamo Valley Press. But yes, it's something that we're working on in discussion about coming up, formulating a plan to put out a message immediately to address those concerns right off the bat.
thank you. And I will talk to Miguel, all right? I found that was absolutely reprehensible. Okay. I've said my piece. Anybody else? Wake up. Thank you for being a great staff. Thank you for being a great council. I'm thrilled with what was reported today. Thank you, George. So I will see you all Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Now, I used to say, Carol, my day is done and I'm coming home, but I guess it's really not done, is it? Thank you.